I am a temple who walks the earth. My womb is fertile for giving birth. I am a woman planted in truth. I grow my branches from sacred roots. You are the form of who you want to be. So come untethered, your soul is free. We're here to heal, we're here to thrive. We are a dream who's come alive. We light a candle, our hearts awake. Illumination for God's sake. A revelation for God's sake. An evolution for God's sake. An inspiration for God's sake. 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 For God's sake.
And so it is. Hello, Essence. This is Jody England, and you are listening to Wild Soul Medicine Radio. I'd like to welcome you back after what was really an intense show for me last week. I talked about healing our mother wounds and spoke about my relationship with my mother for the first time. And, you know, so much has happened since that show. It's hard for me to believe it's only been 1 week. But I want to just presence a few things, and then I'm going to take callers for most of the show today. So if you're interested in having some laser coaching or seeing or healing by me, and the number to call in is 937-552-2747, 937-552-2747. But first I want to kind of just bring a few points to bear. So, you know, our company is called Untamed You. And the idea behind untaming our soul path is, you know, essentially to do the opposite of our programming, to do the things we think we cannot do, to step out of the status quo and into what's real and true. And so for some of us, that means, you know, going wild and wearing feathers in our hair and howling at the moon. And for others of us, it means getting a job and earning income and staying in a relationship. And everything in between. So there is no one thing, but it's really about grasping this concept of how do we unravel? How do we undo that which feels like it is us or feels like it must be so? And so the biggest way that we do that here is through energy work and through deeply looking at how these systems are put together on the fundamental level. Because energy really is the building block of the universe. And so, you know, it's a whole different way of knowing and clearing and freeing ourselves than from the traditional mind level work that's mostly being done. And so last week, so the second piece is that's one way to untame. And the other way, on the practical level, if you don't have a Viv or a Jody to work with you on a daily basis, is to begin to challenge yourself to get into inquiry around why you're doing the things you're doing and what your story is about that. So that you can start to understand, are you being choiceful or are you moving out of habit or reaction? And then once you notice, you can begin to choose something different. So it might be anything as simple as normally I show up for Pilates class and I kind of go half in because I don't want to get too tired and run out of steam first. And so you might do something radical like show up all in, giving your very best effort for the entire time or for the entire first 5 minutes and see what happens. To something really big like what I did last week, which is for so many years, for my entire life really, which is, you know, now 43 years, I have had the story and the belief that I can't talk openly about my truth about my mother because I don't want to hurt her and I don't want to make her unhappy. And I've had a desire to do it for the last couple years, but still was afraid of how that might actually work. And then last week when I jumped off the cliff and did it, it actually opened a huge, I don't even know what to say, like a huge portal. One second. I'm still here. Just a sec. Okay. Apparently I still have some energy moving in my throat chakra. Well, I do. I do have some. Of course I do, because I was just telling you about this portal that opened for me last week and has really been bringing so much medicine forward. And it began with a big release of emotion. After the show last week, I re-listened to it, and because I'm kind of in a space of just pure presence for these shows, I usually don't know what I've said at the end. And so I went back and listened and ended up having a huge emotional release. That some of it felt like grief, and some of it just felt like letting go. And so that was all really beautiful. And then as Mother's Day approached, I had to decide if I was going to go see my mother. And that brought up a whole new round of, normally my sister plans those events, and I hadn't heard from her. And so my monkey mind started saying like, oh, I wonder if my mom did listen to the show and maybe she was angry, and now maybe I'm uninvited to Mother's Day, and what am I going to do, and all of that, right? And I posted about this in the tribe if you're interested in reading the full details. The tribe is at facebook.com/groups/Wild Soul Medicine Radio Tribe, if you're not already part of it. So essentially what ended up happening is I did go to my mother's. I had a beautiful time with her. And I woke up that morning with a big awareness of some pieces from my core event story, my core wounding related to my mother, which had always been really kind of hidden from me. And though I have done deep 8 years, 10 years of exploration into my core event and have so many pieces of it, strangely, I had never actually explored much about my mother's role in it, since she wasn't actually there in what seemed like the climax of the event. I just hadn't really delved into it. And so all week pieces have been coming forward, like probably what it's related to, and the patterns have been repeating themselves. And this is what happens, right? This is what happens energetically when we have a certain pattern stuck on replay in our energy system. It doesn't matter how enlightened we get. It doesn't matter how conscious we get. It will continue to vibrate and attract and recreate itself within our lives, because that's how energy works. And so this is why in your own life, when you're like, I've done all this work, how am I still in this situation? How am I still not making money? Or how am I still having these health issues? Or how am I still in another crappy relationship? These things all happen because the programming is at this deep level, right? And so as I collected these pieces, it led to a session this morning with Viv, which I actually have been in for a couple hours. So I literally just stepped out of it about 45 minutes ago. And so my system is still sort of adjusting to the clearing. But first thing I wanted to say is Viv is brilliant. So my schedule for coaching happens to be pretty full right now. But if you are interested in doing some of this work, I just can't say enough how much I really love the way that Viv holds people and the brilliance of her seeing and her clearing. So So without going into like all of the details, because I really want to get to your stories instead of mine, I want to just share a couple pieces that are my learnings from this. And so the first piece is your mother's story is infinitely complicated, and it's wrapped all around and through you and in you, and her mother and my daughter and my son, like all of it. Of course, this week, part of the pieces that came forward was a giant conflict with my son, and looking at that pattern and how that pattern also happened in my core event, of course, right? And so we're just playing with unraveling those pieces, and hugely freeing when we can have a place to put all of that information, like here's who I know myself to be, and then here's my little girl self. Here's a part of me that's stuck in still being a child, or still in the wound of I wasn't seen, I wasn't loved, I wasn't cared for, I'm responsible for her happiness, I love her, she loves me, she doesn't love me, like all of that, more of what we talked about last week. So if you missed last week, you definitely have to listen to that show. I feel like there's lots of medicine there for us. And then today we get to operationalize the medicine. So it's about clearing whatever's present, and it doesn't even have to necessarily be about your mother particularly, because all things lead back to mother, right? So really anything that you're wanting to work with is fair game today, and then we'll just kind of see where it takes us with no agenda. But the last piece I'd like to share with you of my learning, because I feel like this probably has medicine for you if you're listening, and that is this discovery of how much of my mother's energy and the wounding of our lineage has been part of how I have loved, how I have learned to navigate the world. And this is really from a pure energetic standpoint. We all are doing this. This is not something she did to me. It's not something that she's to blame for or I'm to blame for. This is just how things get passed. And by the way, they get passed from our fathers the same way, and to our own children the same way. So the best gift we can give our lineage on either side is to free ourselves, right? Because when we become free, we actually free them up to match. And so what I discovered as I was unraveling that for myself is this new energetic awareness. So there's a difference between a conscious awareness, which is my mind understands how that construct works. And then there's an energetic awareness of I am actually available for that construct to work. You know what I mean? And so my new energetic awareness is that I am responsible only for my own happiness. That I am responsible only for my own happiness. And my mother is responsible for her happiness. And so what makes her happy doesn't have to look like what makes me happy. And if my happiness somehow makes her unhappy, I get to just lay that at her feet, because she's the only one who can pick up the mantle and do what she will do with it. Right? So if her happiness hinges on I have to be a born-again Christian, then she's going to be unhappy. And I just get to focus on what makes me happy, rather than I have to change in order for her to be happy, or if she's not happy, I have to still suffer. Do you see? Like, these are the loops we get in with our mothers because of this whole attachment, that we have, and this relationship that's so vital to our individuation. So this piece of growing yourself up, really, oh my gosh, we should just be doing this. We should be doing this in college. This should be the core work as we individuate, is cleaning up this past stuff, so that we can be fully who we are as we, venture out into the world and then begin having children of our own. I really do think this is where consciousness will lead us, that we'll be doing this cleanup work proactively, and then just think exponentially how our evolution will shift as we start becoming clearer and clearer with each generation. And, you only have to clear the lineage so many times before it's just clear. And then imagine where we start. Imagine when we're not carrying, 10,000 pound bags of emotional rocks behind us what might be possible for us to create. So whether you're healing your lineage or healing something else today, I want to share the wisdom that really all of the work that we're doing is so that you can be energetically available for standing in the seat, standing at the root of inhabiting your own happiness as you bring your essence and fullness to the world. So with that, I would love to open the lines and we'll see who will show up today to share their medicine with us as we kind of spiral and play here together. So as we're waiting for the first call to be put through, go ahead and just receive a breath with me. Allow your heart to open to the possibility that there's something here for you, whether you're planning to call in or whether you're on the line waiting to see if you're going to get a turn. And just trust that everything happening here is in perfect divine order and allow yourself to receive the part that's for you. So with that, let's just say hello. Hi, this is Jody. You're on the air. Who's this?
Hi, Jody. This is Anella.
Hi, Anella. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you.
Good. Thanks for calling in.
I'm so excited.
Me too. Well, tell me, what's on your radar screen today? What would you like to take a look at?
Well, fundamentally, I would love to get some insight into my own core wounding events. So I will say that I'm fairly new to your work and have done some thinking about my own soul path based upon sort of your 5 descriptions. And I think I have some insights, but I'm new to this, so my insights feel limited right now.
Got it. So can you give me a frame around, so I appreciate insight into, everything. And then also see if you can give me is there an area of your life that is not working or a problem you're trying to solve? And then that will open up to the rest.
Yes. So what I have recognized with great clarity are patterns that I think right now the most fundamental impact they're having is I desire to make a really significant life change professionally. And so that's a driving force right now. And it's very, very important to me, and it's greatly exciting to me. And in making this life change, I also, I guess, desire to do the deep work on myself so that, one, I get clarity about this direction that I think I want to go, but feel, maybe like I still, I'm seeking direction and clarity around the hunches that I have and the desires that I have. And so that's part of it. But I think even more core is perhaps one of the awarenesses that I have that I'm so grateful for is that, I expend tons of energy that I invest in others. That's a life pattern. As a mother, as a professional in the work that I do, as a wife, my sort of first thought is about others. So I recognize a lot of energy going toward others and concern for their happiness. And a core pattern of mine has been putting my happiness, desires in the back seat because I'm caring for these others. And that's a super strong pattern. And the final thing that I think is a fairly new articulated aha is I'm feeling it's connected to my own sense of either deserving or worth. I recognize, as a pattern in my life that I see other people engaged in what, appears to be their bliss, and somehow it feels unavailable to me.
Mm-hmm. I know that one for sure. Yeah. Yeah. And I would say for being new to the work, you have a really very good insight into how you tick. And that this last pattern that you're naming is the one that I was tuned into as well. So let's start with that one. Because
Awesome.
I can feel this. So the great mother energy is the soul medicine path that feels most present for you. I would say that's probably your primary. And I can feel it's almost like as I tune into like what would have you get present or deepen into your own desire or your own essence, your own experience even. And it feels like even just the inquiry of that causes this jitteriness. You know, you're like a horse kind of running out of the gate. So there's this forward momentum of like doing, going, getting, you know, the ing, right, has been your MO. And,
Yep.
you know, that's both a symptom and a cause, right? So it's like, this is what it looks like when we don't feel like we have a container or a deserving of having. And so then we outrun that by spreading ourselves so thin, you know, every place else. And I would say, you know, the large part of the disconnect with your past work and the fear of the future work is like, you don't really fully understand the mechanism of how you lose yourself in it. And so there's like, it's almost like you don't have your own compass to see why did that happen and how can it not happen again? Yeah.
Yeah, and if I could just read something that I wrote a few weeks ago to add to what you're saying, I wrote, I absorb into others and lose myself. I lose who I am. I lose my understanding of really my own preferences. And I think that's also connected to this, you know I want and desire a new path forward, I think, because I lose myself somewhere.
Yeah, totally. So let's look at the mechanism of that. All right. So let's just drop in here. Big, deep breath in. And yeah, and actually what you just said also sounds shapeshiftery.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll kind of see how that plays out. So you
And
might,
those
yeah,
are definitely the two soul paths that most resonated with me. Great Mother and Shapeshifter.
yeah, that sounds right. Because what I see as the deeper piece we're going to look at is you do have the not having, not enough piece, but like at the core underneath that is the shapeshifter piece of like, you're so busy building homes for everyone else that you don't actually have a home for yourself to live in, like energetically. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do.
And so so when I look at like, well, what would have you step into that? And like, that's the fear. That's the core piece. So let's just, let's drop in and see if we can clear something there. Yeah. So the energetic looks like, you know, you're really comfortable jumping into other people's experience, right? And when you attempt to jump in your own, there's this way that you kind of do it like it's, you know, hot water or really cold water, like a toe in and then right back out, toe in, right back out. And let's just see, what would the fear be? Yeah, the fear looks like if I was to be all the way in myself, that I would, I might drown or I might lose myself entirely and then not even like I would be alone, like I would just lose myself entirely. Because your whole orientation to the world is through other people. Do you know?
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
So let's do this. Let's imagine that you can find, here's the visual that I'm seeing. See if you can come up with something similar to this. So it's like, I see you, let's imagine that there's a home base, right? Literally like a baseball home base in the center of you. Okay. And that you're standing right beside it. And you're just going to play with, like, what if you could put one foot on it? You know, and then just like, let's just see. We don't have to jump all the way on, but you're going to kind of start to put more of you there, more weight there, and we'll see what happens. Sound good?
Okay.
Good. All right. So yeah, just move a little closer. Mm-hmm. And you might want to tune into one of the tethers that you have, like in a relationship where you're close with someone. Just choose one. And this can kind of be your check and balance, like you're spelunking into the center of yourself. But you can always, you still have this relationship as a guide, and then maybe we'll let go of that or maybe we won't. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. Good. So as you, can you feel that connection you have to them? So that's going to keep you up.
Yes.
Yeah. And then see if you can make it just a little looser so that it gives you room to come to yourself. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. And then notice the fear in your system as you even begin to back away from the other person, right? And so just feel the fear. This is all of that old subconscious programming. Our mind understands we need to be in ourselves, and then the subconscious programming says, not safe, don't do it. Don't know how to do it. Yeah, big deep breath. Good. Good. And then just try to let out a little more line, getting a little closer to your home base. Yep. And then right there, did you just notice we just crossed a tripwire? This is your I got to get busy tripwire.
It's very active.
Isn't it? Yeah, so you can just say hello to that. You can feel what it feels like once it goes off in your system where it's like, oh, okay, this is taking a long time. I need to probably go do something else.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So just thank your body for the adrenaline rush. You know that one very, very well. It's what keeps you in motion. Good. Give your body a little safety too. Go ahead and just like pat your thigh, rub your arm, just so your body can feel like, but actually I'm safe right now. Nothing bad will happen. Nothing bad is happening. Let's just say that. Nothing bad is happening right now. Just calm your body. Good. Good. And now let your rope out a little more. Good. And you should be close enough. I think you can at least put 1 foot on the home base.
Yeah.
Yeah. What does that feel like to you to just put 1 foot there?
It feels shaky and uncertain because my first instinct was to jump on firmly with both feet and jump up and down a lot. That was the doing, right?
Yep. Good catch. Yeah, so just be in the shakiness, right? This is the uncomfortable space at the edge of the becoming, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, so just feel that. Feel what the fear is. Feel the weak knees. You know, all of that old story. Am I enough? Can I be enough? Do I know how to do this? What would I be doing? Right? Yep. And then as you be with it, you can start to feel it kind of move up through your hips. It's kind of radiating off. You know, and then just begin to, like a toddler, sort of testing her legs. Just see, what if you stand up a little straighter? Can you stomp the 1 foot that's on there? You know, have a little fun with it. Can you like move your ankle? Yeah, just kind of twist your ankle around, put a toe on, take it off. So you're giving yourself choicefulness here. No forcing required. Good. And then as that feels good, maybe just start to even shift your weight more to that foot. So you still only have 1 foot on, but you're just putting a little more weight forward. Mm-hmm. Good. Yeah, and then maybe tentatively add the back foot with just a toe touching down. Yeah, good. And then just move yourself right into the center of that big home base. Yeah, and then of course, you know, your tendency would be to perform it or to do it. you know? And I wonder, like, you might even try just sitting down here, just crossing your legs and sitting down. You might even try, I can feel the weariness in your system from all that you've been holding. You might even want to make it like a bed, and you could just lay down here. Yeah. And then just allow yourself to tune into your desire right here. Like, what would you love to do in this space? Or what feels natural? Let's just do that. What feels natural for you to do in this space?
You know what feels most natural is laughter.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Yeah, so you can either do that out loud or you can imagine doing it in the energy space. Just see what arises.
It feels natural and even comfortable to share me, to share who I am.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so your tendency would be to share who you are before you've actually filled with it. So what happened right there was you began to be present, and then it was like, oh, and then I could give this to someone. You know, I could serve with this.
You're right.
Yeah. Yeah. So what if it was just for you? What would you want to share with yourself if it's just for you?
Yeah, what keeps coming up is that I'm okay.
Mm.
That it's okay.
Yeah. So what if you could just let every one of yourselves begin to play a game of telephone where one cell tells the next cell, I'm okay. Oh, hey, I'm okay. I'm okay too. And just sort of let that spread through your system without you having to do anything. Just letting the wisdom of your system do what it knows to do. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Beautiful. And then what I'd like to do is actually see if we could turn the volume down in your brain, because the way that you navigate has been so masculine, so it's very cognitive. So there's this processing, right, that everything goes through.
Absolutely.
Yep. So let's just see, like, imagine that there's a volume knob in your brain, and you could just begin to turn the volume knob down. You can turn it up anytime you want, but just for now, like, it feels like it's about on a 9, maybe a 10. And what if you could just turn it down, let's say even a 5, just so that the wisdom of your system, the feminine part from the neck down, actually has an equal voice in the space, just so you can see what that feels like. There you go. Good. Isn't that relaxing? Did you feel the relaxing at the base of your skull just then?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then let's also imagine that there's a volume knob on your heart space. And it feels like your heart space is maybe on like a 2, which I think may be surprising, but this is a good awareness because you feel like you love people all day long, right? That's what's behind the caring, the nurturing, the doing. But actually, that's not really loving. It's more of it is who you are, and it's a defense mechanism, right? So it's not purely love. It has a string attached to it. So it gets convoluted in our system. So just see if in this moment you can see what I mean by turning the volume knob up on the heart space so that the heart is at least at a 5. Mm-hmm. There you go. What does that feel like in your system when you do that?
So I'm not really sure that I've turned it very much from a 2 right now, because I guess I don't know how to do that. There's my doing brain again, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I get curious if I don't know if it's about, do I know how to do that, but more like I can't do that, right? Like there's some old programming in there that says.
Okay, sure.
Yep. So let's just see if you can, to me, it feels like a layer, almost like a layer cake in your heart space, but the top layer is like a limiter. So what if you could just pull that top layer through? You don't even really have to know what it is, but let's just see, could you, almost like pulling a bedspread off a bed and then just dropping it down into a grounding receptacle on the floor? There you go. Yeah. And so that may feel a little tender or vulnerable here at the beginning. Do you notice that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So just give that a moment to get acclimated, because that's something you haven't been present to or exposed to. And actually, let's add a layer of gold there, just like almost like some golden salve, because it feels like there's probably some wounding here of like a time when you were really in your heart or really following your heart, and then something happened that said, that's not allowed. So just imagine you can put some gold right on that space, just soothing whatever that old hurt was. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, actually that layer of hurt was really a lot behind your doing. Do you notice that as you bring it to peace, how much you can settle in here?
I do. I notice it very much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's almost like the doing was a way of proving your worthiness, or proving, if people need me, then they'll keep me around and they won't be mean to me. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'd rather be the needed rather than the needy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, good. Good. Mm-hmm. So now just see if the volume knob can move a little more.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah, good. Good. So just feel from this space, like it's almost like a new gravitational orientation to the earth, right? Of like, no head, way less head, way more heart. Like, where's my balance? How do I go with this? Mm-hmm. And my suggestion for how to go with it is stop trying to make sense of it. Right. And then if you just surrender, almost like taking your hands off the wheel, I think you'll find an equilibrium will happen. There you go. Yep. And then go ahead and just move your neck. Like, put your head side to side and kind of back and forth a little. Just loosen up that pathway. Mm-hmm. And big, deep breath. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good. So how does that feel to you?
Yeah, it feels definitely like an important shift, and connected also perhaps to another pattern of what I would describe as not having my voice, not feeling my words are valued, mm-hmm. therefore holding back because what I say might be stupid. I mean, the list could go on and on. Mm-hmm. And I I recognize that pattern as well.
Yep.
And I think it's in sort of that lower throat, upper heart area.
Yeah, and I actually feel like the whole relationship between your head and your heart, there's a lot that we could work with there, although we don't have time to do it here on the show. But the throat is kind of it should be the conduit, right? So in right relationship, the heart in a woman would feed the inspired action for the head, right? So the heart would be the creative force, and then it would give information up through the system so that the head, says, oh, well, let's do this to implement that. But how it is now is all of the energy is up in your head. There's almost no energy moving through your throat. And then the heart has been kind of withering, underneath the heavy blanket. So it is totally related. It is totally related. And there's, so even just this piece in meditation will be a good opening for you to start with, is just noticing like the relationship between head space, heart space, and then what would it take to open this conduit so that the heart space could feed up through the throat? And then that's what would give the head its marching orders. So sometimes, yeah, wouldn't it? Right. And when we're such doers, we have this idea that, and I mean, it's kind of presented this way too, like you should go meditate. So it's like the invitation into non-doing, which feels like death. And, what I would say is the better place for you to try on in your system is, what about moving into informed action, right? Inspired action, which is all in, right? So it comes from this place of the in first.
Okay, say more about that. I'm not really sure that makes total sense to me.
Yeah, 1 second. My throat is still not happy either. Yeah, let me have another drink. Maybe I'll clear along with you here. Yeah, so in as in the heart, right? The heart in its proper place is your navigational wellspring, right? So it takes this landing at home base, allowing the heart to expand into fullness. And then that information bubbles up through the throat.
Okay.
And then maybe there's a doing. Maybe there's not. Right? In the past, it's been the total opposite. It's been doing. Who needs something? What can I do? What should I do? Right? And then there's this disconnect. So it's that same like, oh, there might be something, here for me. Let me share it with everyone. But it's not actually grounded in anything.
Yeah.
You're not connected to it. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah, actually, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you for saying that phrase.
Yeah.
Which I think then I would say, therefore, that so sort of, clarifies that notion that I feel I lose who I am because I so quickly move to an external, connecting or giving out energy to someone else before really connecting to who I am.
Yeah, totally. And the fear is that if I connect with myself, then I won't be giving anything out. But the truth is, the more connected you are, the more powerful what you're giving out is.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So the place to do it is quietly alone, so that you can build the muscle of even connecting to it. And then, once you have that firmly in place, you can start to practice what does that look like in the world, or is there an action to take, or what is inspired action,
Right. Okay, thank you for that elaboration. That makes sense.
Yeah, perfect. Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for letting us play with you today. There's, as I said, many layers to unravel, but this feels like a starting point to actually just begin to become aware of how your system works and start to make some capacity in there.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm so grateful, Jody. Thank you.
Thank you. My pleasure. All right. Bye for now.
Bye for now.
Beautiful. Okay. So I really am having some throat issues. Sorry if that's distracting. Yeah. So let's just all receive a big, deep breath together. That was such beautiful clearing. I hope you were able to take your medicine right along with us. We certainly can all use more heart, less head, more in, less out, right? So we have our next caller. Let's say hello. Hi, this is Jody. You're on the air. Who's this?
Hey, Jody, it's Jennifer.
Hi, Jennifer. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. Can you speak up just a little bit? Your voice is a little quiet.
Okay, I will give it a try. Is that any better?
Yeah, that's better. Great. So what are you working with today, my love? How can I help?
Well, I still feel like I'm in the cycle of thinking I don't know how to do it, whatever it, being love or work, creating new work in my life, new clientele with energy work, right. And that if I don't fully get there and know how to drop this old story, then I'm not enough, and why should I even try? Yet I know I need to keep trying. And also that if I go all in, that I'll lose what little bit of me I have been able to get a grasp on over the last few years.
Yeah, that's what I hear. I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
And that I'll be judged. Yeah.
Yeah. For you, it's root chakra. For you, I really feel it's, right? It's this, if I go all in, so mystic, right? Is that your soul path? Mystic, yeah?
No. I'm also Great Mother Shapeshifter.
Nice. Okay, perfect. I love that. Yeah, the energy we were just working with my mother, she's a shapeshifter warrior. So I love that we're having this shapeshifter medicine so I can get to see the other side. It's perfect. Yeah. So it does feel like root chakra. There's almost a sense of like, if I go all in, then, so there's this way that you hover above all your creations, you know? Mm-hmm. And I'm just feeling, I'm just checking your energy system to see where our inroad here is. It also looks like your second chakra. So the first and the second are both kind of absent. So the second chakra is where you would hold like receiving and having. So your creation's actually landing with you. And then the first chakra is where you would root into that feeling of like enoughness, like I'm good. This is good. So let's just see. What could we play with here? Well, let's begin with just seeing if we could even create a structure, like even some. I'm almost imagining it like a long skirt, you know, that you could hook at your like at your rib cage. That would be like a container for the bottom half of your energy system. Let's just play with that to see if we could even give it a space. Yep. And then notice how your tendency might be to want to leave the front open. Like, yeah, but if somebody needs me, then I gotta go over there. Yep. So just see if in this moment, would you be able to play with putting a front on it? And then if you hate it, of course, we can let go of it, but just try it on. And maybe even try putting your hand in front of your, let's see, I have my hand so that the center of my palm is right on my belly button, fingers pointed down. You know?
Okay.
Just see if you can give your body that physical cue. There you go. I'm feeling your kidneys too. I feel like there's a lot of resentment in your kidneys. I don't know if you're present to that, but it's like you're the dialysis machine for everyone in your life, you know, like running their energies through. And then there's, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like all the things that I've created and have passed on to my daughters or sons also.
Mm-hmm.
But what's most present in my household right now is my daughters, 3 of them, 15 to 10.
Mm-hmm.
And that it's like, how do I see me and let them be them and just, you know, let it all be.
Yep. This is what I was just unraveling with my own mother and my son, right? How can we all just be happy? But who's going to be happy first and who's going to be happy last, right?
And I have that conversation with them all the time. It's like, do you really want to wait until somebody else be nice until you be nice? And do I have to be the one that's always nice? And
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, darling. So let's do a lineage clearing with you. So on the back of your second chakra, so this is like on your spine, and also like in the top of your pelvis in the back, right? It looks to me, gosh, it's so old. It almost looks like the tree of life, you know? It's like ancient lineage stuff here. It's also like your cross to bear, you know, that saying, like this is where you hold it, literally in this cross formation. And let me just feel if I can know any more about it. Yeah, it has some Mary energy, some Mother Mary energy, like, you know, great mother, as in, you know, all of the suffering has to be taken by me, right? Like I can't stop suffering until the last one is done suffering. Yeah. Yeah. So let's just see if you can, feel into that space for yourself, almost like you could jiggle it's so deep in your bones, right? But it also looks like it's an overlay. So see if you can just explore a little and see, what is this? What do you notice as you look in there?
Yeah, it just feels like got to keep doing this for the collective. You just got to keep.
Yeah.
As soon as you let go of one story, another one's going to come in because there's just so much that needs processing for everybody.
I know. Oh, yeah. We're working the same energies. Yeah. And what do we do if there are suffering people and we're not going to process for them? Then the suffering's just kind of laying out there, right? And then what?
And it feels like all your brothers and sisters are counting on you. I think that's from religious programming.
Yep.
That I've been trying to shake.
Yeah.
But at the same time, knowing that there's a higher degree of that I can't let go of completely.
Yeah. So let's do this, because I feel like what's true is that has been the case. and that we're right now in the crux of actually shifting out of. So I think in the past, this is how I see it, the planet did need planetary processors. Like our souls have been doing this a really long time to lay a foundation of what's happening now. And the new vibration that's getting downloaded is it's time to lay the suffering at the feet of the people who need to process it for themselves, right? It's time for them to learn to do this themselves. And this is where our systems are needing the upgrade, right? Because there's this extricating ourselves from how do we stop doing that and start doing this. Do you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Yep. So it's not that it's been done wrong. It's that we're actually creating something new. And that's why it feels so awkward to try to figure out how to step out.
Like, it's just not knowing how to shift from the way it's been taught to how it can feel like freedom for me and them.
Yeah. So what I'd like to do actually is I'd like to bring in a couple of guides. It feels like Mary actually wants to be part of this. And let's see if there's anyone else. Nope, just her. Yeah. She already looks upgraded. I was like, do we want to bring her? Is this her? And she was like, no, this is not my energy. Let's fix this. She's like, you have me misconstrued. This is not it.
Okay.
Yep. So she's just going to show up right there at your back. And just see if you can almost just like rest your kidneys right into her hands. Mm-hmm. Mm. Yep. Mm-hmm. And then as she does her work, see if you can notice internally the places where you're still holding on, right? And you might even imagine turning to face her so you can look her in the eye and see, can I trust her with this? If I was to let go of this, will it be held in the way it needs to be held?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so with that, go ahead and just open up your energetic cellular fingerprints. Yeah, right? Good. And she's not even going to carry it for you. Do you notice? She's taking it, and then she's going to do something with it, right? So she's just getting rid of it. So it's new paradigm. It's not you suffer or I suffer. It's, oh, they're suffering? Let's clear that.
Yeah.
That's easier. Great. And I almost feel like it might be nice for her to replace your kidneys with brand new ones. You know, so you can imagine actually having sort of like an energetic surgery here where she removes those old battered ones, which were sort of on their last leg of ability to process. That's why you've been harping at your kids about it, right? All of the old ones, all of us old ones are having this memo right now of like, it is time for other people to start doing their shit. You know? And what I'm seeing is that requires us to first come in and say, I'm no longer going to do your shit. You know? It's the catch-22. We've been waiting. Who's going to be nice first? Right? Well, what we have to do is first stop trying to make everyone be nice. And that frees them to actually have the ability to do it. Step one. Step one, then patience.
Oh,
yeah.
I've been told that word patient my whole life.
Mm-hmm. So right now, just see if she can take out those old kidneys. Let her put in some brand new ones. Yeah, and these are specially made so that they only have to process your own stuff. But there's a way that it's, all right, so here's a mystery. We're going to do mystery school. So
Okay.
I feel like you're a servant of the planet, right? Of Mama Gaia, as I am. And one of the things that she has taught me is that actually she flourishes on the suffering of the people returning to her. Like it's actually vitamins to her. So when we, so as planetary processors, we would bring it in. This was the old way. We would bring it in, we would run it through our system, and then we were mostly all holding it, right? But that's actually starving her because she doesn't, running that suffering through is how she knows how to interact with the humans that are on top, if that makes sense. Okay. And so part of what needs to happen now is she needs to be able to be back in touch, them with her and her with them. And so there's this way that the new vibration that you're holding is if you just process your own stuff, as you return that to her through this new processing system, it actually enlivens her like exponentially.
Okay.
I don't know if that makes any sense to you or anyone listening, but that's how it goes. That's how it works.
Okay. It's making at least a little bit of sense.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's not a head thing. So it's more like I'm saying that to let your ego get on board with, like really processing your own stuff is where it's at. Not because you should be selfish, because that's going to be a hard case for your ego. But it's like this actually further serves your mission by allowing yourself to really just pristinely process your own stuff. That's the new vibration, because it's like that vibration then goes into the earth and then, there's this new harmonic for how to pristinely process your own stuff. And so, as you know, the matching vibrations then ripple out. Now the humans don't need a processor because there is a groundwork for individuals to pristinely process their own. Does that make sense?
Got it.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep. Yeah. And in a way, right? So what Mary's saying is, do you love them enough to do it for yourself?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that you can be with. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the catch right there.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a brilliant lesson for your children too, right? Instead of it being the stalemate of who's going to wait for somebody to be nice, it's like, do you love them enough to just do it for yourself? That's it.
Yeah.
And you to them. Do I love them enough to let them do it for themselves? Do I love them enough to watch them be in pain or not pick up the ball or sit in their suffering? I do, because it's for a bigger good.
Yeah, it's like it's interesting because with my oldest son, that's what I've had to do. Just step back and watch, and he was even in my dream last night, and just watch him play it his own way, and know and trust that he'll find it on his own. But when he was in the home, and the ones that are still in the home are there, it feels like, okay, I've got to do this while I can. I've got to fix what I can while I can.
Yep.
Before they're on their own.
Yes. Yes. And, as we have neared our capacity, right. Because as we've neared our capacity, we're like, our energy system is saying like, hey, you guys better start getting it because I'm about out of room, And so now that you've created this spaciousness within yourself, there's a lot more room to let them be with their stuff. It's not going to feel it's pressing or difficult or, emergency, right? It can just be like, oh, there you are in your stuff. I've got room for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Beautiful. So Mary's just going to she's giving you a quick little like tune up the rest of your spine, so you can kind of just let the shiver of that run up all the way up to the base of your skull. Yep. Loosening your neck and your shoulders. Yeah. Offloading all of that stuff you're carrying. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was shaking out my neck and shoulders earlier. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. And then she was just tapping the top of your head. Like, remember, you don't actually carry anything. It's up here, right? Like connecting you to source.
Yes.
Yeah. So beautiful. Thank you, Mama. Thanks for letting us play with you. That was really beautiful. Mm-hmm. Okay. Love it. All right. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Great. Okay. So let's all just receive a breath together as we prepare to close our space. I so appreciate the beautiful mama medicine, particularly in light of the fact that I was just working with of all the years I've done this work, I've never known the soul path of my mother. Like, I knew she was a warrior, but in a lot of ways she doesn't act like a warrior. And so I was really confused and I could never type her. It was so frustrating. And now I have this awareness that she's a shapeshifter warrior, which is a whole, beautiful, special, unique combination. And so today feels like it's been continued medicine for me to get to see and have so much love and compassion for how her system works and why she chooses the things she does, and the projector screen with which she lives her life, and all of that. So thank you, everyone who brought your medicine today, for letting us witness and clear and heal along with you, whichever sides of the coin we find ourselves on. All right. And so that brings us to completion for this round, and we will be back again next week, same time, same place. Until then, bye for now.
We light a candle, our hearts awake. Illumination, for God's sake. A revelation, for God's sake. An inspiration, for God's sake. Illumination, for God's sake. For God's sake. For God's sake.